Oh, there it is.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
I think so.
We got all kinds of music.
Yeah. Now you're in filter.
Now Kev's surfing the web. What do you got going on over there, dude?
Just trying to close that window. That's all.
Close the window. Shut the door.
Close the window.
Welcome everybody out to the National Players Club Garage Pod.
Garage Pod!
Welcome back after a long hiatus.
Yeah, this is technically season 3 of the Garage Pod. And
Yeah.
I've been missing for a while with different work. Yeah, we're not going there.
We've got Garage Pod episode 2.0.5.
And a half.
Pool Pod, which may not.
Pool Pod never made it up there, but there was one that we're just going to refer to as the Dark Ages.
Yes.
The Dark
Because
Ages.
we're
That was the
basically sitting
beginning.
in the shadows, swinging whatever we could at that time, way late, no preparation. Not that we have much more today. At least there's been a lot more going on, so we've got about 4, 5, 6 weeks. 6 weeks of stuff going on. And Halloween creeping up on you.
Yeah,
it's gonna get
fun with the bonehead.
It's gonna get wacky. Too.
I need to put a straw on the top of this thing. Oh, it has a hole!
Oh,
Now
even
they're finding
better.
holes.
Are you ready for some football?
We are ready for football. We've always been ready
Absolutely.
for football. So.
And one quick shout out to my boys who cinched their playoff spot and squashed
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Now waiting tonight, still waiting on a score to see who we play moving forward. And I'm working on I got my Red Sox Nation beard going on. So
The no shave.
and, yeah. See,
How long
hopefully
is that going to last?
I don't know. We're about to get to itch level 7. You know.
You got the Pirates and Cardinals playing right now.
Yeah.
So,
And that's actually game 5 because that's 2-2.
yep.
So whoever wins this one.
I really wanted Rangers to go. I really did. 'Cause I actually was kind of hoping for a Rangers Sox kind of, at least that way I could root for no matter who fell out of it. But in any event, we get football.
We have football.
We have sponsors.
We have sponsors.
Whether they sponsor us or not.
Whether they know it. Jägermeister, please send money.
Amen.
Or Sex Panther.
Oh, sorry.
I still miss the Sex Panther. I still need the Sex Panther for that.
Yeah,
That
I
was still
know,
one of
man.
my favorites. Oh,
So moving in.
yeah. When did we start? We're the leaping off point of like week 6.
Exactly.
And it's ugly on the home front, but it's pretty on the home front on my end. My wife has done a turnaround.
She is. She's killing it. Dude.
Now, are you the one actually setting the lineup for, just going in there at night?
No. I call her a reminder, set your lineup. She may call me and go, hey, I'm at odds with the tight end, or Danny's probable.
Shit. Romo's behind this sleigh with whip and multiple horses that have not gone down yet.
And she's using Des Bryant as her Rudolph the Red Nose.
And a running back.
Yeah, Jamal Charles.
Little quiet giant over there.
Yeah.
And
this is her 3rd year with Jamal Charles?
And as most viewers know, I am not the cowboy homer by any stretch of the imagination, but Romo may be for real. I mean, I'll eat some crow on that. The boys got some, after last week, going head-to-head against the true Jedi Master in Peyton Manning. And throwing
would he be
touchdown to touchdown.
Would he be Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader?
He's probably one of those ones.
If you ask me, he's Darth Vader because I'm a Brady fan.
Yeah, we see where Yoda's going.
Yeah. He's a Sith.
He's dying.
But I don't know. I mean, you look at that Denver team from last year, or I don't know if it was Denver last year.
Yeah,
last year. The only addition is Wes Welker.
No, but I'm saying I'm talking about. I'm backing up to where you have Tim Tebow, who they're now flying planes over Jacksonville Stadium, chanting they want a quarterback. It's just a nightmare over there. But you've got a quarterback in Tim Tebow that scrambled a bit, made a play, can't get a job with a team anywhere in the NFL.
Has the same amount of playoff wins as one Mr. Tony Romo.
Well, the point I was going to go with was the fact that he took the team to the playoffs, and it wasn't him. He made a couple plays, but it was defense. And looking at last week's game, which we were at, and much love to all the family, and happy birthday, John. It was an excellent time. I'm glad we went. Badass, as badass gets. The game was, phenomenal. Yeah, Cowboys fans kind of hated on it, because it ended the way it ended. But you can't. That was literally, if you had a Super Bowl that played out like that,
that would be
awesome.
Yeah, that was a college game. That was a freaking college game.
But the point I was trying to make is, you're looking at a defense that basically carried Tim Tebow into the playoffs against my Pats, and now you're looking at a team that both quarterbacks hung up collectively almost 1,000 yards between the two of them on the defenses. What happened to Denver's defense?
I think we know where the problem lies with the Dallas Cowboys. It is not the offense. It is clearly the defense.
That game would have been different had they had gotten a sack or two, or made a couple of powerful stops needed. Cover a few of those deep balls that went, because when you're playing Manning, you don't play close. You just don't do it.
And the thing with going into that game, and I actually heard a bunch of people talking smack before. Now obviously you guys all know I'm Pats first, but I heard people talking smack about the Cowboys, and it's such a foregone conclusion. You're gonna hang up 4 touchdowns on them, and they shouldn't even watch the game and blah blah blah. I think the spread opened at 7.5, or it finished at 8, or opened at 8, finished at 7.5, one or the other. But anyways, I got 10 points, took the boys. A little hesitant. It's only it's a touchdown and a half. Manning is going to drop 40 points on him.
Yeah.
So I knew that they were going to have to go downfield and take chances and do what they had to do. My hopes for him was that they weren't going to get far enough behind that they were having to take stupid chances. That was more meticulous. And it seemed like it kind of played out that way. And actually, Dallas's defense, speaking of defenses, they made a big play at the end of the game to kind of turn things around, put them back in position to win that game.
2:39 left in the fourth,
but
made a stop.
With the weapons that he has and the system he's at right now, it's the Super Bowl for the AFC unconditionally in my mind, and I think everyone believes it goes through Denver.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you saw Dallas make that team bleed a little bit last week. So they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable.
They're human.
You look at Denver's first 4 games. They won. They put up 40 points easily in all 4 of those games, but they held their opponents to 20 or less. And here comes Dallas. Everybody doesn't give them a shred of
they wanted this guy in the draft this year.
Yeah, did not give them any respect to hang with Peyton, and they go down there touchdown for touchdown and hung with him. As a matter of fact, had him 14-0 early in the game, and had Peyton for the first time this year happen to come, play from behind. But
you think they got a little too comfortable with the lead in their own house and made some sloppy moves?
I don't think so.
I agree. I think they did everything.
I didn't get to watch the whole game.
The DVR. They could have put up 100 in the first half, and it could have been 100-0, and that still would have been enough. Because Peyton will find a way to come back.
Hey, well, let's get into our league. To basically covered the biggest game, I guess, of the
week. Yeah,
the biggest game of the year.
Probably going to be of the season.
Yeah.
Unless it keeps going down the line with the Saints going 5-0 now. Kansas City. Oh my God! And I have to say this to Dana because one of my roommates, Dana, she watches our Garage Pod.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Well, shout out to Dana.
She's KC fan, born and raised. So your boys are doing good. Quietly too. Yeah.
There's kind of like a sneaky thing where I'm like, you see ups and downs on the either you're watching the Giants completely implode or you're watching Denver just blow it up. You're watching KC kind of just
sneak in.
Yeah, very quietly.
New coach, new quarterback. Not a lot of changes other than with Andy Reid coming in, Alex Smith coming in.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Dude, all red, dude, red head to toe.
It just needs to grow.
I saw it, I was all like, it's Santa.
Put a red nose on Jamal Charles, and let him run.
With the Cowboys right now in the division that they're playing in, as kind of nightmarish as it is with what we've seen with the Giants and with what's going on with the Eagles and the recent injuries to Michael Vick, which we can get to later.
RG3 with
RG3,
sophomore slump. Maybe knee's not 100%.
The Cowboys, prior to going into last weekend, at 2-2, were leading the division.
And now they're tied at 2-3.
At 2-3.
And at one time,
and they did that with the Broncos. Do the Cowboys take that division?
They're going to have to knuckle down, and the defense is going to have to step up, make bigger stops, more sacks, more blocking the ball, more pressure on the quarterback, and those corners have to pick back up where they left off in week 4, week 4, where you couldn't get a ball to a wide receiver.
How's DeMarco Murray feeling right now?
So far, he's healthy.
See, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you've got a couple. You still got your weapons out there, and you have the defense you've been working with so far. You have more injuries to the other teams in that division. Barring any major setbacks for Dallas, I see them like pulling ahead in that division. Now, what they do in the playoffs is another story altogether.
They've got to get their defensive house in order, first and foremost. I mean, because back-to-back weeks, you put up 1,000 yards against your defense.
Sean Lee even stated, after I watched the interview afterwards, he said, the game would have looked differently had our defense done what they were supposed to have done and stopped the points from getting on the board. Nobody in the team put it on Romo, but you hear all the talk online and everybody,
it's all Romo. It's the last play. They have an opportunity to make the run. Everyone's hyped up, and the pick comes, and it's all on Romo. Kind of like when they.
So, looking at what we were talking about, the 2-3, or now they've got Washington this week, Philadelphia, then Detroit, Minnesota, New Orleans. They're on a bye week, week 11. And then they're back at the Giants, Oakland, Chicago, Green Bay, Washington, and Philly.
They do not have an easy schedule.
Well, I don't know.
I wouldn't call it hard.
You're looking at Green Bay, it's difficult. Philadelphia, currently banged up, depends on what they do.
Washington has not been as strong.
Yeah, they've got a lot of division games coming up. Their division's obviously not playing well. I mean, obviously New Orleans is going to be difficult for them. I think they pull out this division. I'd actually put a board bet on that one.
They have a good chance of it. I mean, looking at it.
Out of the other three teams.
Do you see anyone else in the NFC?
I don't.
Well, not in the NFC in general, but in their particular division, moving up in front of them?
No.
I mean, LaShawn McCoy, he's a stud, but it depends on.
If I had to peg it right now, it's a 2-horse race between a healthy Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys.
I can see that. You want to recap last week and find out where we're at in stats and overall standings?
Well, yeah, we can do that. Let's do standings.
I believe, as far as last week, we're looking at, let's start with me because I happen to be on the top of the page.
You also happen to be in top of the West.
2-point chance. I am in first place.
4-1.
4-1, I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've actually been leading. Unfortunately, usually when you lead early, you lose late.
You're 2-0 at home and 2-1 away.
I've got some issues, and I'm definitely going to address those later, but they're coming up. You got buys. We're walking into a bunch of bye weeks on everyone's team.
And I think all your running backs are on bye at the same time.
Yes, I've got a week 8 coming up where I have 6 players on a bye.
I got a couple of running backs that I could probably trade for tight end.
I literally have enough players on a bye to basically create an entire team almost. But I'll take my. Now, granted, he will argue that his team was beat up and his wide receiver was out and he's missing all of his running backs, which he was.
And you made a trade that made you the powerhouse that you are. I'm not going to let it go.
It's good coaches, coach well, I build players.
He farms teams. Waters plants regularly.
Anyways, 152 from Brandon to 84. Move me on to 4-1.
I didn't realize it was that bad of an ass whooping.
Yeah, 152 to 84. Yeah. Just short of doubling his score, which is why I think he was actually first on the waiver wire this week.
Well, he wasn't first. I put in for Terrence Williams first.
I meant first as far as eligibility.
Oh yeah, because the email that came across the league had Terrence Williams for whatever dump player he was getting rid of. And then a giant message at the bottom: "Suck it, Clint."
Yes.
I didn't see that.
And okay, here's the thing with Terrence Williams though, because we had discussed this
Yeah,
earlier.
you and I were talking about it
The
today.
wide receiver, what was his name from the Cowboys?
Terrence Williams. Oh no, last year.
Last year, first week or two, dropped
now
like
in-
3 touchdowns, did like freakish stuff. Everyone scrambled to get this guy. Held on to him for like 6 weeks because he was going to be like the stud of the year. He was like
I think he
the
went to
offset, the
Jacksonville
double,
or something.
the double set.
Yeah.
Kevin Ogletree.
No,
Well, I think
no,
it might have been Ogletree.
no, it wasn't Ogletree.
Anyway.
All right, well, this moment of silence was brought to you by
Dallas
Sex
Cowboys.
Pets.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah. So anyways, he was picked up. Didn't actually pan out. I expect this to be another one of the same. I don't see him going forward doing anything remotely close to what he had done.
well, right now the only reason he's even getting the targets that he's getting is because Miles Austin's not playing. He's filling in for Miles Austin. When Austin comes back, he's going to move back to third, which means he's going to be in for 10 snaps a game.
How long is Miles Austin out?
They're doing it week to week.
Practice today.
Yeah.
He did practice today, so it could be
Yeah, limited
questionable for this
practice.
weekend.
Yeah.
They have the Redskins this week.
Wednesday. Yeah.
That should be an interesting matchup. Division matchup. RG3s, like you said, sophomore slump.
I don't think that needs 100%.
Well, I don't think it's the knee. I think it's more the mentality.
Well,
I think
also
he's
too,
scared
remember
of it.
they wouldn't let him on the field until the season started.
Yeah.
So I think that actually kind of came into play as much as the coaches were saying it was going to, and he wanted to be on the field. And I think there is something to that.
It's a lot different between a running back coming off of knee surgery, and a quarterback. Because he's got more to worry about throwing the ball than your running back.
And he is out of that last class of mobile quarterbacks who, definitely utilizes those feet
Cam Newton.
and those legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him, Cam Newton. I mean,
And see, and that's
across the
another
board.
thing I've been seeing this year is that quarterback option
You're not
just
seeing it
isn't
like it
there.
was last year.
Yeah, this
Everyone
year.
was running wild crazy last year, and
And it was
really
doing
not seeing
good
it.
because the defenses weren't prepared
And that's
for it.
why
Now
all
they
these
had an
guys
entire
became
offseason.
juggernauts in fantasy football. And now if you start looking at these same people, not so much. They're actually not getting you. And we've also gone to 6 points per touchdown, so you don't actually get the running touchdown for 6 points and the 4 points for. Just saying, just throwing that out there. Red Sox go. Anyway, so that was he and I. I am sitting first in the West. He is sitting third. I'm sorry, I'm sitting first in the West. He's sitting third in the West. Moving on to John, who just finished off his 52nd birthday. 122, 116 over
Yeah. My boys.
over your boys. That actually pushed down. He's actually sitting at 3-2. Respectively at third place in the East, because a 3-2 is an easy switch.
Come and go.
Definitely depending upon the points you have. Dropped you to a 1-4, which is one of those you have to kind of taking stock of where you're at and what moves you need to make.
I think I'm in a rebuilding year this year.
Wasn't that what you said last year?
I made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, but you didn't make the Super Bowl, did you?
I made the playoffs 2 years in a row.
Well, your running
So
back's
it's
still
4
doing
years
what he's
ago.
supposed to be doing.
He is.
Um,
Yeah.
That's a good stepping stone. The running back. Now let's find a quarterback.
And
a tight end,
right now, I
maybe
think I'm juggling between two quarterbacks right now, both in that read option with Terrell Pryor and Cam Newton. And Cam's having not really a sophomore slump. Since this is his third year in the league, I won't say they're having some troubles out there in Carolina, so he's not doing the magic he has.
Running backs were never
Cam Newton was
never the
ranked-
solid running back situation. There was always that running back by committee, and it was always like, okay, you're going to do it with Stewart, you're going to do it,
I think the problem that he has there is he doesn't have the targets to throw to.
He doesn't. He
He
really
doesn't.
doesn't. I mean, he had
Yeah.
Steve
Does
Smith.
Carolina
It's Steve
have wide
Smith.
receivers?
And it is
Brandon
Steve Smith.
LaFell, is your number 2. Steve
Yeah,
Smith.
I mean, that's not like-
Greg Olson is your tight end, and they got running some
I mean,
spares.
Greg
in there,
Olson
3 and
actually
4.
almost becomes your number 2 wide receiver in that format.
Absolutely.
And Steve Smith, I think, is banged up. Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit.
A
Right?
little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, he hasn't had the production he has. The
And
past
he's
few
old.
years,
He's got
but
old
yeah.
legs. I mean, he's he definitely played well last year in that system, and he like the other quarterbacks that came out in his graduating class surprised a lot of people, caught a lot of people off guard, and made some wide receivers that seemed like they were kind of getting dust on them, got dusted off and started making points.
whereas
Reemergence of that particular player.
You look at
and
what-
now it's looking more like, all right, now we're going to respect what this person can do. We're going to adjust for it. And there's a lot of teams out there that their own defense practices against an option quarterback and now know what to look for when they walk into an option quarterback
exactly.
playing.
And then you take Terrell Pryor, who is his third year in the league as well.
I think he was more of an afterthought this year. He
Yeah.
seems to be kind of like the pickup that was like that.
And I see that
He's a good fill-in and has hit some serious holes
And
this
he
year for everybody.
and he has good receivers to throw to. And Oakland's not the biggest threat out there in the West. He's got decent receivers to throw to, probably better than what they have in Carolina. Definitely better running back coming out of the backfield. You've got Darius Haywood Bay. You've got a couple other Rashard Jennings. Who I think are a better caliber of receiver than what they have in Carolina, and it's making them look better.
Except the running back.
Yeah, well, so the problem right now is the running backs being so banged up, he's almost forced to go to the throw. So even if he gets, it's kind of like when Michael Vick, or even back when Favre was doing it. Yeah, he's going to throw 2 picks, but he's going to keep trying to throw that ball for 400 yards. So even if you offset those 4 negative points, he's going to go for 400 yards, which is
400
something.
yards, and he's also going to get 3-4 touchdowns.
Yeah, well, and this is also what something needed to bring
And he's
up.
also going to put up about 50 yards on the ground running. So.
The benchmark for the quarterbacks, while we always used to give 5 points for a 300-yard season for a quarterback, was, you went above and beyond. You had like the one quarterback, possibly 2 in a week that did this. 300 yards is like, if you do less than 300 yards now, you weren't doing your job.
Yeah.
That's like the 50-yard field goal. I mean, a 50-yard field goal from now on should just get you 3 points, because every kicker in the league just about can hit it from 50.
I literally had my kicker going into a game that they put him in for a 70-yard field goal. To this day, I still have no idea what happened with that. I don't know why that was tried. It still cost me negative points. Now, granted, it was probably 1 because he went for the entire field, but why even put that person in for a field goal?
I think you were playing me or something.
I was out in South Carolina. I'm like, and Erica even told me, she's like, they just put your kicker in for a 70-yard field goal. I'm like, what? I'm like, you might as well pass the ball.
But don't get me wrong, there are some some kickers out there that could probably hit it from 70.
Well, Dallas's kicker, 2 weeks ago, back-to-back 50-yard field goals, and he cleared it. I mean, it was at the top of the upright.
Oh, it was like Matt Prater's, field goal that he had early in the game against the Cowboys. It was like a 53-yard field goal. That thing had about another 20 yards to go on.
Yeah.
It was still going up when it went through the upright.
It could have floated down and still cleared out 50 more yards.
Exactly.
All right, so we got the Barflies at 3-2, third in the East. We've got our friend here. I'm gonna say 1-4, but it's only 5 games in a 13 season.
13 games.
13 weeks.
So you're almost halfway. So I think there is some concerns. There are some adjustments that need to be made. You need to start kind of looking, start taking some chances if you want to make a run for it. With our current system, and I put a podcast. I put a poll out there for this. There's first in both divisions get their bye, but unlike in the seasons before where 2 and 3 play each other to win, to play the first in their division, now it becomes down to the next 4 highest scorers. So you could literally have, other than the top 2 go, you could have 1 in the West and 3 more in the East, all battling it out to figure out how it plays out. So,
well, as it stands, with 5 votes, it's 40% want to roll with the new setup, 2 votes, and 60%, 3 votes, want to force it.
Yeah, and I think at this point we have to kind of just go with the force, because we're deep enough in that it was one of those, I try to put it out early enough to where we need to make this call before
it gets
you have a vested interest in how this is playing.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's going to roll with what it does, and we can sit down and figure this out next.
It's just my 2 cents worth in on that. I think points are a reflection of how you're coaching. So if you do put up, more points than somebody else in another division, you should be rewarded for that. So
I agree. On the flip side, and just playing devil's advocate, you always kind of like being able to dominate your division. We're like, okay, well, I'm here, but at the same time, I've also been knocked out of playoffs when I'm 10-2, and I'm looking at someone 8-8. I'm not going to point at you. As I realized I did the thumb fence. I did 16,
Did I do that?
16-14, apparently, whatever that was. Whoever's,
It wasn't me that knocked you out.
No, it wasn't. I'm saying there was a team in the other division that had like moved on, that had like, you know, I was all like, I dominated that team, but I got knocked out because of that. I'm like, but it was one of those, you know, your divisions, and so there is some of that, so yeah, I definitely think there's an argument both ways, but I think they do. At least you get rewarded for coming in first in your division, and then everyone else gets rewarded for playing the way they play. So I mean, I guess it's fair.
Later on, I'll have a remark about our scoring system and stuff. We can discuss later, but let's move on with it.
All right, so that brings you to 6th place in the East. That brings John to 3rd place in the East. Moving on to Road Rash, and again another 3-2, another battle in the East. In the 2nd place, one abrupt his bro. Abrupt the bro. In his that last brothers and cousins and house battles that we had recently, that was on the website that we haven't done a podcast about, but Road Rash putting up respectable numbers, winning some games, 126 over our defending Super Bowl champ, Naughty Gnomes, who have dropped to 1-4 at 5th in the East, at 95 in that particular game, largely behind the play of my boy.
Get him to kiss you.
Well, the worst part is I've got another 2 more leagues, so it's killing me. But so yeah, Road Rash at 3-2, 126. Eric at 1-4. He's in 2nd. She's in 5th. Again, she's in a position where it's even more so than you. It's a must-win situation. So, to what extreme do you start making some adjustments? Do you start messing with your dynasty team and dropping, you know, your franchise quarterbacks, or at least training them out for other players? And you know, what do you do?
But the same sense, you know, you got Gronkowski coming back.
He's coming back, and
you got Danny Amendola's healthy, and now he's got, you know, who's the other wide receiver that?
Kimball Tompkins,
Kimball Tompkins, yeah.
Oh, they just signed Austin Collie.
Austin Collie, yeah.
Which I never really got, because now we have 3 slot receivers. We need a deep threat. We got 2 rookies on a deep threat. Both are banged up, but we got 3 slot receivers.
Danny played the deep threat for St. Louis. He has the ability.
Yeah, but he's only like barely taller than I am.
And what's wrong with the height-wise? I mean, look at Wes Welker. Look at Danny.
Slot
Lewis.
receiver.
Slot receiver.
Yeah.
Slot receiver.
But at the same time, Danny was fast enough. Corners had trouble covering him with St. Louis.
It's all about the vertical.
If you can get far enough away, the vertical don't matter. I mean,
I don't know. I see with
the thing with
I see
what
one
I
of
was
them
going
trying
with
to
it-
slide them into a position that Hernandez should have taken that role.
right.
So maybe they put that person in that second slot as second tight end-ish. I'm not really sure what they're going to do.
But what I was getting at is you're saying with the dynasty, they signed Austin Collie, they have Danny Amendola back, they've got Rob back. There's still, it has to be medically cleared, which I don't think there's going to be a problem with. But when you start messing with that dynasty, you bench him, you trade him off or whatever, and then next week that team turns back around and it's back to the Pats and the Tom Brady that we've seen in the past and know he's capable of.
I'm going to throw my 2 cents worth in here and
He's got a lot of 2 cents.
explain part of the reason why I traded off.
Full of pennies.
Yeah,
No,
I know. I got a bag full of pennies over here. Part of the reason why I decided to trade off Gronk, and you know, because I got a lot of shit from Brandon about this. You know, of course, he always gives you shit when you're trading off
You guys are my tight ends.
Whoa!
Yeah, but you're the meat in the middle. Anywho's,
East Coast me.
Except he's playing in the West this year.
I knew it was going to take. I mean, here we are coming in week 6. He's not back. You know, maybe week 7 he's coming back. We just don't know when he's coming back. And I hate to, you know, tell you this, but your quarterback is definitely on the downside of his career.
Oh,
It's more evident this year now that he does not have his security blanket, Wes Welker, to throw to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's throwing to a bunch of rookie wide receivers
that are banged up.
And they don't have that timing that he has been so used to.
We've also lost Shane Vereen, his receiving back in the backfield.
Yep.
We've lost Vince Wilfork, basically our quarterback on the defense, who basically keeps that game close to where they can make plays. Now they've got a hole in the middle that needs to be adjusted for. You've got two wide receivers, rookie wide receivers. They get hit in the hands. They can't catch the ball. He literally started the season. They went 4-0 with the only receiver on that team that had seniority was Julian Edelman, who was basically wide receiver number 5 and the person that would return kicks when Wes Welker wasn't doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and this was your number one.
I mean, I saw the end of that game last week, and you know the fact that he had a touchdown streak broke, but he just doesn't.
When it started raining, I knew it was over. But they couldn't catch it in the first place. When it started pouring, I'm like,
he has absolutely no confidence in his receivers.
Oh no, well,
none.
I don't blame him. He hits them in the hands. They can't hit the ball.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Danny Amendola, second week back. Gronkowski alleviates some pressure. I think that opens up some lanes for the people like Dobson and Kendall Tompkins, who
are already not catching the ball.
Kendall Thompson put up like 24 points from me last week.
He is about their only other threat right now. But you know, keep in mind also when Gronk comes back, he has his security blanket coming back, who is going to see more coverage than Sailor's Day and
I'm not saying I'm not saying he's going to put up Manning type numbers. But I'm saying they're going to be more serviceable with him back in the mix, and it'll definitely make him more of a viable threat.
But I also see that window shrinking as far as he's not going to be the impact.
So what it comes down
Gronk
to,
coming back, let me ask you this: who would you start over Tom Brady, quarterback-wise?
Quarterback at this point, there's quite a few quarterbacks I think I would. Alex Smith throwing out a great, showing resurgence in his career in Kansas City.
When he's not throwing, he's running, and he's gaining yardage. I mean, he's got legs under him this year.
I'll take Tom Brady moving forward. Overall fantasy points over Alex Smith from now to the end of our fantasy football season.
So week 6.
Book it.
All right, find the book.
Hold on, we'll make one. Alex Smith over
We've
Tom
got
Brady.
it on video.
There we go. Let me recap. Do we have a time thing on hand like we used to?
Not really.
No, I think we can go up to an hour now, right?
Yeah, but if we need to stop it, we can stop it.
Okay. Before we get too deep into that, we got our pluses and minuses on other teams. Let's finish off last week. That was Road Rash and Donnie Gnomes. Let's jump into your wheelhouse.
That's not a wheelhouse.
We've got 92 to 132.
This is coming off of the week before, 172. It's either here or it's out there. I mean, that's
you
where
172 the week before?
Yeah.
Oh, good lord. On your starting team?
When I beat Trudy.
One thing I do got to say, I was very concerned with when we had set up with this particular system, and there's some things I definitely don't like about it. And I think we've kind of addressed that. I mean, and we'll kind of tweak this out and bring this up and adjust it accordingly. I was very concerned about the fact that it was going to basically squash a lot of the overall scoring numbers, and we added in a PPR, and that was pretty much it. We added in, I think, a bonus for yardage. But other than that, not too much. We didn't tweak out too many other things. We didn't blow up the defense like we had before. We did a lot of stuff. And I'm seeing numbers consistently in the first 5-6 weeks. Now, granted, maybe it was because everyone was healthy up to this point. Now people start dropping off. But that were, crushing stuff. I mean, between Mike's stuff, Trudy's stuff, your stuff, mine. I put up 165 and 185 on my bench one week. I mean, there's points being put out there.
There are points out there.
There are 12 everywhere. League.
And it's not just coming from the extra points from the quarterbacks too.
No, it's not. It really. I mean, there's a lot of points being scored here. So, 192, 132. You fall to 1-4, 6th in the West. Where
It's a fight.
DK Comics, the boy, my prodigy.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Kiddo, told you to give you a shout out tonight. Go Sox. You and Dad in first place. Could be a Super Bowl contention. Hoping for it.
Oh, I'm taking everybody.
That would be awesome.
I'm taking everybody else.
But no, I got to give you props though, because the last couple of years kind of fell off the grid as far as like not really paying attention and keeping up with stuff. But you've done some stuff, and as squirrely as this waiver wire has been this year, I think going forward it's the fairest way for everyone to access players and make their teams
which will adjust.
fightable and not just dominate someone to one side or the other. Because I really haven't made any picks, whereas Bernie has been the waiver wire.
What the hell will happen?
Yeah, I know.
She went from
I'm sticking with the team that brought me here, and now all of a sudden she's like,
she is me on the
Yeah.
waiver wire.
it's like she
She's
discovered
incarnate.
candy or something. Yeah.
And I have not touched anything. But anyway, so Devo, way to go, 132.
You look good going into
first
next
place in the
week.
East. You are 6th place in the West. Moving on to Kelly / George, one knows. Really need to change that team name. Got to give yourself a team name. 85 to 172. Good Lord, you're just like.
After being snaked in the draft, not once but twice, for 2 of my Cowboys, wearing him right here.
And you might want to sit in a different spot next time during the draft.
It had nothing to do with the spot. She got him. She grabbed Romo around before me. I didn't say anything about getting Romo. Nothing. I knew where Kaepernick fell, Flacco fell. I'd get to keep one of them without having to waste a holdover, and I could pick Tony Romo up on the next. Kaepernick fell and went up the line. Trudy picked up Des Bryant and went, no big deal. I'll catch Romo on the downside. On the downside, came back to her and she went, and I'll take Romo. And I went, are you kidding me? She goes, what? Did you want him? No. Miss relied on Matt Stafford for the past 4 years. Still has him as a backup.
Not for nothing. I actually had, in my head, uberly criticized George's first pick in taking Victor Cruz. Blown up. He's been a stud. Which
should have been one of my holdovers.
Which is ironic because I sat and looked at the stats from, it was not this past week, I don't think, or maybe the week before, where literally Eli, who they also drafted, who I thought was going to, we won't even go down that road, but Giants being a nightmare, Eli doing horrible. Eli puts up 9 points. Victor Cruz puts up like 32.
Yeah.
I was all like, I'm like, who's throwing you the ball?
Next
I'm all
week,
like-
the next week it was Flacco and Torrey Smith.
Same difference.
Flacco put up like 4 points. Torrey Smith put up like 31.
I mean, there is something to PPR and there is something to yardage after the catch, but good Lord, that was sick. So anyways, at 3-2, still not very much in the fight.
Second,
even
overall
though
in the West,
well, he's actually 5th in the West.
they're 2 and 3. You said 3 and 2, which would be true.
I'm sorry, George and Kelly are 2 and 3, 5th in the West, but you're 2 and 3, so that 2 and 3 is easily exchangeable with one win, the right person to lose. Trudy, I believe right behind me, 2nd in the West.
Yep.
And she's about to play me here shortly in week 8 when I have 6 people off, and she's at 3 and 2, stockpiling points on me. She's a serious threat and doesn't have a
tied
whole
for
lot-
second with points. Her and Brandon have 643 apiece.
These keep in mind that these bye weeks, pay attention to what's going on with your players and who's off and who's available, because and don't necessarily drop that person that's off just to grab the 4-point person that's out there in the waiver wire.
I took a peek at her bye week.
Well, no, I'm saying her. I'm not worried about her.
No, I'm just saying. I took a
people.
peek at her bye weeks. She's good. I mean, literally, it's one person here, she's got the backup. One person here, she's got the backup. Another person here, she's got the backup. So, I mean, look out, world. Trudy's on a rampage.
If we have to go
Scary.
back-to-back estrogen bowls,
Won an estrogen bowl last year.
yes, it was. Erica won it. She got the bling to her ring. The first girl on the trophy.
That should be B.
And
That's estrogen there. So.
Erica beat you, right? In the Super Bowl.
Yeah, an estrogen bowl.
Well, she won the bowl.
Okay. I thought you meant like two female teams going on. Estrogen bowl. Easy.
Moving on. Speaking of the burn, again another 2 and 3 team, 4th in the West. Lost to 4th in the East, who are now 4th in the East. In Christine, who again has been kind of a little quiet giant, making some moves. She's had some issues, some player problems and stuff like that. Again, we could talk about sophomore slump. I'm looking at some of these players in our particular fantasy league that are actually making aggressive moves. Devin, Bernie, Christine. I mean, Erica always has. Tree. Well, she's been kind of stayed strong with the team that she's had. But
a couple of ad drops here and there.
Yeah.
But nothing major.
No, but I mean, there's
just something to fill in.
She's making adjustments where she needs to. She's getting on it when she doesn't wait for the aftermath of what's left over. She's actually being kind of aggressive on it and going for it. She put up 132 over 95. Puts her at 3 and 2 in the East. And yeah, 4 and 4. Matched up across the board in those. So right now we're looking at the. Oh well, I got next week's matchup, but you guys got anything before that?
No, I think we're at that point.
I think we're at that. Take a break, get back.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Find the mouse there.